Right, let us move on to the next presentation. This is from Ateneo de Zamboanga, the Philippines, Dr. Robin Atilano de los Reyes. Are you ready? Is there any representatives from Ateneo de Zamboanga? All right, if not, then let us move on to the next presentation first. From Myanmar Leadership Institute, Mr. Michael Lian.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, okay. The screen is yours.
Hello? I actually sent a video to Dixta.
The video?
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Minglaba, welcome to my presentation. I'm glad to be one of the panelists representing Myanmar Leadership Institute, MLI. So, I would like to draw your attention that in Myanmar context, I would like to highlight the COUP together with the COVID-19 because in our country, the COUP is more problematic and even has more severe impact on our learning process. Because of these two factors, the COUP and the COVID-19 as the root causes, they have generated multiple crises as the consequences. Because of these two factors and this effect, online modality learning become our new normal, and yet this is extremely limited and inaccessible because of the effect here. Students and teachers boycott the junta administration, and schools are being used as maximum of army bases. According to LFA, Myanmar has 400,000 school teachers. Out of that, 300,000 teachers joined the CDM. It is also said that 15 million youth are now lost generation. Many of them become PDFs, many have been detained, and many are dropping out of school. Another effect is also our currency depreciation become very high. Before the COUP, $1 is equal to our local currency jet 1,340. And today, $1 equal to 2,000 jet in our local currency. You can imagine the depreciation. On the other side, our basic commodities prices are very high, even double, triple. Then the general services like electricity, transportation, internet services are controlled and disrupted. ILO also has mentioned that 1.2 Myanmar has lost jobs after the COUP. UNDP also stated that 25 million Myanmar are living below poverty line by early 2022. And also UNHCR stated that 593,000 IDPs are there as of November 2021. Because of this effect, our learning process become greatly affected. Here, I would like to explore further into a conflict tree of COVID-19 and the COUP. As I mentioned, the COVID-19 and the COUP as the causes, its consequences are civil war, currency inflation, joblessness, CDMs, and closures of school. In our context today, my education is, I can say, almost blocked. So thus our learning process is seriously affected. Now coming to the point, how COVID-19 and the COUP affect student activities, project programs in our institute, or rather in our country. Because of these two factors, we lost all face-to-face activities like excursion, workshop, debate activities, and conferences. Also, we can have no longer physical interaction with our visiting professor from local and abroad, study tour and trainings. Educational expenses become affordable for most of the people, and then safety is seriously deteriorated because a bomb blast, something like shooting, can happen at any time, any place in the street while we are walking. And even staying at home itself is not safe any longer. Another problem is our youths are arbitrarily targeted, arrested, crippled, and killed. According to AAPP, as of 16 March 2022, 1,677 people have been killed and 12,740 people are being arrested. Then the youths are overwhelmed with revolutionary spirit. They are no longer in the learning mood. Myanmar youth lost also their dreams for the future because they have no job, they have no education, no safety. Also, COVID-19 has killed 19,251 people in Myanmar. Now, coming to another point, how did your institution cope with the pandemic? To cope with the pandemic, we practice work and study from home and rotational shift work. Also, virtual learning is largely adapted by restructuring the contents of the courses. We make courses fee affordable for the student by offering scholarship and discount. To help COVID-19 patient and IDP to our capacity as our outreach program, we did have some COVID-19 patient and IDPs. And then also with the staff are provided vaccination allowances. Here, I would like to highlight a few advantages of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic, we are able to recruit students without boundary. That's why we gain wider student network. Another advantage is we become more familiar with using these virtual learning technologies and devices. Now coming to the last point, how would you reimagine the post-COVID classroom and regional collaboration? Before I present my reimagination, there are concerns. Because of this, the COUP and the COVID-19, there's an intergenerational trauma due to the pandemic and the COUP. Then another concern is how long students will be further be out of school. Then how to motivate our young people, because they have uncertain future. Most of them are feeling that fleeing or fighting minded. Then another concern is how to remedy this education and learning gap. So upon this concern, my reimagination is that how nice would it be if we are able to provide trauma healing and counseling service. And another imagination is to develop more free and affordable online learning to remedy the learning gap. Another imagination is to organize student roundtable discussion in local context to restore students' interest and engagement. Another my imagination is to organize as free and more webinar as possible to stimulate students. Another imagination is to develop online library in collaboration of regional universities and institutions in AJCU-AP context. And another imagination is how it would be good to exchange and or share newly innovative teaching and learning system. And then my last imagination is to arrange courses and face-to-face learning meeting. So thank you very much for this great opportunity. Thank you for your great attention. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Lian. Let's give a virtual applause to Mr. Michael Lian from Myanmar. All right, the next presentation will be from Ateneo de Zamboanga. Is the video ready? Okay, so we will watch the video from Ateneo de Zamboanga.
Buenas tardes a todos.
I'm Robin Atilano de los Reyes, and I'm here to share with you the experiences of the Ateneo de Zamboanga University during the pandemic. Instead of going through the guide questions, allow me to share right away how AJCU responded to the challenges brought about by the pandemic. Like all other schools that continued to operate during the pandemic, AJCU went on full online teaching and learning modality. Recognizing the challenges in doing so, AJCU took the first few months to prepare for such modality, starting with visioning and creating a common learning framework and retooling its faculty in the use of information and communication technologies or ICTs, primarily of which is on My eClass, AJCU's learning management system. Consistent with district education and the demands of the time, the AJCU has envisioned learning during the pandemic and thereafter to be responsive, independent, guided, holistic, and technology-based. In short, right learning. Concomitantly, AJCU has implemented a three-pronged approach to instruction with the following components. First, asynchronous learning, where the students do guided but independent study with resources accessed primarily through eClass. Second, synchronous learning, where the teachers and students engage in real-time interactive discussions using applications such as Zoom, Google Meet, and Microsoft Teams. And third, academic consultations, where the teachers conduct coaching and mentoring based on students' needs and requests. To guide the teachers and the students on AJCU's instructional approach, the AJCU has crafted the student primer and rolled out orientations on the material for the teachers and the students through the college heads. To prepare the faculty for the online modality, AJCU has conducted a series of training sessions dubbed as AJCU Forte. That is, formation and teaching through technology. The AJCU Forte focused on developing the teachers' capacities to use ICTs in the digital classroom, labeled as tech courses, enhancing their competencies to transition to online teaching and learning labeled as teach courses, and equipping them with knowledge on the legal issues and implications of online learning labeled as the TAC courses. In keeping with the principles of online learning, regular class size has also been reduced to 30 from 40, which has helped the teachers manage their classes better and afforded them with more time for consultation. Additionally, classes offered in a regular semester have been divided into 2 sessions, which has allowed students to focus on their classes as they only have 3 to 4 classes per week. To ensure that the crucial competencies are targeted, despite the shorter period of the classes, the teachers have been instructed to identify at least 2 terminal outcomes, which reflect their acquisition of the said competencies. They have also been asked to do a learning packet for each week, which serves as a guide for the students' asynchronous and synchronous sessions. As the online modality has demanded faculty to boost their internet connectivity, AJCU provided faculty with a modest monthly internet load subsidy. They have also been given free Zoom accounts on shared basis. Similarly, to help the financially challenged students meet the technological demands, AJCU has launched a fundraising campaign for the procurement of devices. This has benefited some of our scholars from the different programs. Recognizing the need to provide the students with supplemental inputs, AJCU general education classes, for instance, have been complemented with webinars with speakers from within and outside AJCU. Despite the challenges of the pandemic, AJCU has continued to collaborate with universities and organizations here and abroad for meaningful endeavors such as conferences and conventions, internships, research and publications, and the conduct of bar examinations, webinars on media, creative resiliency, and art festivals hosted by European Commission and Austrian Embassy. Development programs, Human Rights Center, leadership, governance, and resiliency, The AJCU faculty members, in their individual capacities, have also collaborated with universities and organizations, serving as speakers in webinars on history, language, media, information technology, and health. Similarly, AJCU students have also collaborated with universities and organizations, serving as speakers on literature, peace, and youth advocacy. Cognizant of the mental enervation in pursuing its mission during the pandemic, AJCU has provided its faculty, staff, and students time to rest and recharge through its mental health program, along with the mental health webinars and provision of mental health week in between sessions in a semester. These are also complemented by its usual formation activities like retreats and recollections, only they are carried out online. Despite the seeming success in navigating the pandemic, AJCU recognizes that needs change and challenges evolve as it faces the new normal. Thus, AJCU has implemented mechanisms such as online surveys and town hall sessions with students, as well as consultations with faculty, with the aid of the deans and chairs, and with other stakeholders to gather data for consideration in its decision-making. Needless to say, the pandemic has tested AJCU's commitment to fulfill its thrust: excellence, spirituality, and citizenship in the most dire of circumstances. It has compelled AJCU to transcend its comfort zones, and while AJCU has demonstrated to be committed, it has not been done so without setbacks. Thus, it takes stock of the pandemic experience in order to be more prepared in facing the so-called new normal. And with hindsight, AJCU must have considered preparing faculty to teach with technology, that is, providing them with both the infrastructure and training. Long before the pandemic, it has predicted that the future of education is one with heavy reliance on the use of ICTs. With the pandemic, such prediction has become even more apparent. In a way, the pandemic has only created a scenario where schools around the globe were taught the pivotal role of ICTs in education. As one study reported on InsideHigherEd.com highlights, and I quote, "Institutions heavily invested in online learning had an easier time responding to the pandemic shutdown and pivot to remote learning," end of quote. Lastly, the pandemic has taught us, at least AJCU, that beyond the technologies, it is the collaboration among its stakeholders that sustained us during the pandemic. It was a coming together of administration, faculty, and staff that provided AJCU with a solid plan and eventually the needed support for implementation. It was also the understanding and support of the parents and the students that allowed AJCU to implement its plans more efficiently and effectively. And as we were navigating the pandemic in the so-called VUCA conditions, volatile, complex, and ambiguous times, we realized that fulfilling our mission would require not only the collaboration with the stakeholders, but also with other institutions. Thus, the future of education lies in the interdependence between and among institutions, both private and public ones. And this is exactly why we are all brought together here in this roundtable discussion. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much from Ateneo de Zamboanga. Let's give a round of applause.